Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a live update on a few things that are happening for small business at the moment while we're coming out of lockdown. Great news this morning. No doubt I'm competing against Dan Andrews and his press conference, but the good news is we'll be slowly coming out of a lockdown situation. So I've shared with you this morning some various things that we've come across in our seminars and just talking to various clients over what's happening in 2021 for small business. So bear with me and we'll just start our presentation and give you some updates on various things. Obviously, if you haven't heard the announcement, the 4 reasons to go outside will be dropped as of tomorrow. The 5-kilometre radius has also been dropped, and masks will be mandatory inside and out where social distancing is not possible. So employers can, if you can, social distance. I don't think masks are completely compulsory. The good news is Ticket Master this morning has listed available tickets for competition of tennis on Thursday, Rod Laver Arena with adults at $94 to $495. So rush back into the tennis if you can, and hopefully we can enjoy some normality in our lives. How are we coping? We've had various contacts with our clients over the last couple of days. Some are just coping. This has knocked them around, especially those in hospitality, where others are doing fine, that just see it as a blip, doing quite well. Some are not sure. Some can see that 2021 is going to be a fantastic time, and there's others that aren't doing well at all. Mixed reactions, and that's what you'd expect given the economic and COVID climate that we're facing in Victoria. So we're here to help you if you need us, and hopefully some tips on how to focus your business this morning. Helpline is here. I noticed on the Southwick Facebook page, there was a report of 3,300 on Saturday people that inquired with Lifeline, one of the biggest in their 6th decade of their life. So obviously people are still hurting out there, and the various numbers are there for you, for anybody that needs help. So please reach out to Beyond Blue or Lifeline if you really do need the help. Or as a kid, kids are struggling as well, getting out of school and all the rest of it, and breaking a routine and camps and not being able to go to parties. Just sort of give you some updates on insolvency, because that's going to be an interesting area talking to the insolvency practitioners out there. ASIC data shows that yearly insolvency appointments across Australia have fallen dramatically since COVID. And that will come back up as the government reduces some of the allowances that they've made for small business. Businesses have been saved by the number of dollars that the government have pumped into the economy to keep it operating. So normally the average insolvency appointments is about 12,000, and that rose a little bit, but now we see that last year it was down to 6. So we expect a change in the next 6 to 12 months. We are already seeing that mortgage institutions are requesting return to full payment, and that needs to be factored in your cash flows. Rental holidays are also over. If you're a self-managed super fund and you rent your business property from your fund, give us a yell, because I think we need to probably revisit that area. What to look for in the coming months? There's going to be some ups and downs, and possibly even today, Dan said he can't rule out any more closures. So we should look at some of the things that might be affecting your business. These include debtors who can't pay, so keep an eye on your debtors. Shortage of cash flow, debtors will slow down. The money in the economy could slow down. Productivity, getting employees focused after 3 or 4 days off of not being able to work. Insolvent businesses are now going to go under as insolvency tightens. The ATO, we've had a few phone calls, even in lockdown, asking for some of the clients to start paying their debt. So we'll see the ATO now continuing to be nice to a degree, but starting to be firm. Don't forget, we are also seeing clients not realising that they have to pay tax on their JobKeeper payments in, and they're not accounting for that in their profit. So when we're reporting back last year's tax and this year's tax, there'll be additional tax for the bonus that you've received to employ people. We are seeing banks are wanting more cash flow planning and certainty before they'll lend. Keep your records up to date because that's the only way that you're really going to be able to plan and understand your business dynamics. Maybe there might be more lockdowns, let's hope not, but we can't rule that out, and we should be prepared as much as possible to make our business robust to be able to do that. There could be a shortage of large projects outside the government sector. So we're looking at, will there be a slowdown on new plant being purchased, new apartments being built? Not sure on that one. And ongoing disruption throughout 2021. So there's a few things there that you should focus on in your business to make sure that you're aware that there could be some further disruption. We've had quite a few questions on JobKeeper and especially Job Maker. JobKeeper obviously finishes in March 2021. We've helped those over the last month or two that are allowed to be in this last quarter. You can apply. The tax office is saying that you still have to meet all the conditions, but you're eligible to apply up to the end of March if you haven't already applied. Job Maker, for those that aren't aware, the Job Maker Hiring Credit Scheme is an incentive for businesses to employ younger job seekers between the ages of 16 and 35. Eligible employers can access the Job Maker Hiring Credit for each eligible employee they employ between the 7th of October and the 6th of October 21. There's a few conditions, and one of the biggest conditions is that the employee has had to have been on some sort of benefit for the last 28 days. So if that's something that you might be able to use in your business, give us a yell, we've got some information. Of course, we do get the phone call occasionally, well, I never managed to get JobSeeker, JobKeeper, and some of the other grants as a sole trader. What can I do? Well, JobKeeper may not apply, but you may be able to get JobSeeker from Centrelink, and that might be worth following up from your end. ATO, always an interesting topic. We are starting to see a little bit of activity in this area. Fortunately, not in our practice, but the press are reporting various things, claiming JobKeeper on behalf of fictitious employees, and that's being pursued by ATO investigation. Client is in jail is another category under scrutiny where people have taken advantage of the $130 billion scheme. So they put employees who are actually in jail on their list. So they're actually a normal person, but obviously in jail. And the documents show that the ATO was investigating 5,974 cases of inflated employees as of September last year. So I haven't seen any outcomes of what's happened there, other than that some of the large employers have given back some of their JobKeeper money. Just a point to note, we've had a bit of confusion about IASs coming out. At the moment, IASs were or are online, and we're receiving electronic copies. There's been a lot of confusion, a lot of people not getting them, a lot of them going to defunct email addresses. If you haven't got your notice and you're expecting one, give us a call. It's possibly online somewhere. The ATO realised that that hasn't worked, and so they're going to go back to paper copies in the June quarter. But in the meantime, be patient, work with us, and we'll see if we can find out where your statement is. Because most clients are aware, if they have been paying them regularly, that they will continue to get them. And it's your responsibility as much as ours to make sure that you've met your obligations there. Predicted ATO audit activity this year. We are seeing the ATO starting to come out of their bunker and start to follow things up. Basically, the press reported that very few employers have used the SGC amnesty and are continuing to fall behind on their super guarantee obligations. Possibly because of COVID, possibly just because of other cash flow. So if that's yourself, have a talk to us. We did have a few clients use the SG amnesty. STP audits and reviews. Data capturing continues to become more detailed, sophisticated, and the feeding is increased to the ATO. And that's the same with TPAR reports. So making sure that your records are up to date. Those smaller employers, we're going to start working with you to, because that amnesty is coming to an end. You do have to get to the stage where it has to be electronically reported for your employees, no matter how small your business. The other one that we haven't had many, we've had one or two initially, is the JobKeeper payment audits and review. The ATO will have been historically active in doing that. I'm sure they'll continue to do that over the next 12 months as they try and get back some of the money that's flowed out of the ATO coffers. And it's the same with the cash flow boost. There is some businesses out there that probably inflated their pay-as-you-go withholding during that period to get more cash flow boost, and that will become noticeable with the ATO following up on some of those type of businesses. Small business cyber tips. A few things that we've noticed, and even in our practice, we've very much tightened over the last 12 months our cyber area, and we would pass these tips on to you because it's certainly noticeable that there's people out there trying to get your data and information and your money. So keep your software up to date. Pretty important to keep Windows and all those up to date. Use the antivirus protection and firewalls. Yes, it costs money and time, but it'll be even worse if things don't work out for you. Use strong passwords. Use a password management tool if you need to. Don't just use the standard ones. I think there's 4 or 5 going around. Jesus 101, a few other ones. Those sort of ones everyone knows about. Try and use something a bit more authentic. And use your 2-factor multi-authentication. We use that throughout. It goes onto your phone, and that's a good system to make sure that you actually entering into your data. And learn about the phishing schemes and suspicious emails and phone calls. We have had some clients over the last 12 months lose a few dollars with people ringing up saying they're from the tax office. So just be very careful. Fortunately, we haven't had any that have lost thousands of dollars, but we have had a few clients that have lost hundreds to a couple of thousand. And it's easy to get caught out. So don't open a suspicious email. We often get a phone call maybe once a week or once a fortnight saying, is this for real, from the ATO? And often we find out it's not. Of course, there is the real ones. So if you think you owe money, then possibly it is real and we can check it out for you. So these are the top 5 cyber threats that you should be aware of. And they include ransomware, phishing, data leakage, hacking, and insider threat. So the insider threat is obviously from employees or people coming in physically to your office or factory and stealing your computers and stuff. Look how you operate your computer system. We have ourselves implemented this year. PDS will now be password protected with your date of birth. And that's just standard stuff that we have to do. It's taking a bit more time, but it's protecting your data. Brian Tracy, famous sales guy that I read some of his books, and I've just picked out of one of his books a couple of things that you should be looking at in your own business for increasing sales. And they include identifying the problem clearly of what the customer is trying to solve and how your business can help. Develop your competitive advantage using your USP, and also look at the content and social media marketing take to your advantage. Pick the right price for your product and value. We may do a session on that later this year. Some clients I have, after talking to them, have found that they haven't put their price up for a number of years. Some are too scared. Others that put their price up regularly and espouse value. So it's really up to you how you want to build your business. Give the customers the inside scoop when you're starting on a new product, and your sales message should always be clear. So this is Brian Tracy's tips for today. Certainly, everyone should be reviewing their sales and taking advantage of that. A lot of my clients, when I talk to them, really aren't using Google that well. So, and some of them don't even have a Google business account. So just a quick points to note. I'm not a Google expert, but I do use it. And, go and search your name in Google, see what's there, claim your account and set it up properly. Complete every section. Make sure you've got your contact information. Write your from the business description, choose your category, select the applicable attributes, and various things and add some photos and get some Google reviews. And they're important. That's why we ask you for a Google review, because it helps us keep our business fresh and getting some new clients, which everyone needs. And a Google review is as good as a personal referral, because people will go search for a Google review to see if there's any negatives and what positives are there. So it's a very good form of advertising. Most important Google report. So if you've done all that and you've got a website going, you've got to keep that website fresh and look at what's happening in the back end. Talk to your web guy, but you can always go in yourself into the webmaster reports. Have a look at your overview report of where the audience are coming, what people on mobiles, is your website mobile friendly? Look at the channels of where the traffic's coming from. Are they coming from referral sites? All that sort of stuff is in Google, and very important that as a numbers person, it's interesting to watch and see how well you're doing in that area. Look at your navigation summary and the behavior of your site visits, and the pages that they're going to. All that's pretty available in Google, and some of it will obviously be text orientated. You'll need to talk to your webmaster. Some of it's pretty obvious. Landing pages, all that sort of, and site speed of your website. For some people, I know clients haven't updated their website for many years. Some say they don't need to because they get plenty of referrals. Well, sometimes we've heard that, and then a year later, the referrals have dropped off for whatever reason, or you've become a little bit irrelevant to your customer base. And so it's important not to just rely on one source. And the bounce rate. The bounce rate's an interesting one. A high bounce rate means that people are just going to your website and then bouncing back out, not actually spending time on there. So all those sort of things are good things to do over the next month or two, and make sure that your web page is set up right. And also it helps when you want to sell your business. There's a bit of a breakdown of Google and where people are spending advertising. We can see that Google's obviously 41%, Facebook 7%, 7.9 on REA Group, whatever that is. So this online advertising is certainly increasing dramatically. We're using a new system called Profit Check, and some of our clients are getting monthly reports from their live accounting data, and happy to talk to you about that. Some of the areas that you should be focusing in your business is, these are the 7 critical numbers that we'd like you to know. And the first one is sales. What's the mix? What's making you money? Look at your cash flow and forecasts, and then we'll compare actual to forecast to see how you're going. Debtors days, we've spoken to a number of clients about that and managing the debtors days and liquidity. Same with the creditors days. Looking at the inventory stock turnover, how well are you managing the stock that you're paid for that's sitting in your factory, and the gross profit margin as a percentage of sales. That's a big one in our land, and we're looking at clients and how much money they're making from the on-job sales that they're doing. And sometimes we're actually pleased to see that that's improving, but other times the estimates and what they've quoted for and what the job does doesn't leave a lot of profit left. So there's some good indications of what you should be looking for in your business at the moment, and happy to talk to you more about how we can help you manage that and see what the effect is. We have a little program that shows for every $1 or 1%, what's the impact on your profit. And that's quite interesting to see. Improving your business profitability. We've talked about some of these. Tighten up your debtor management, chase the overdue invoices, charge upfront deposits. We've seen clients doing that a bit more, negotiating good payment terms and communication. Creditor management is talking to your creditors and suppliers, finding out what you'll get for a discount, not just letting something just float along. Cut the costs if you need to, eliminate unnecessary expenses that might have just crept in during the good times. Finance arrangements, we're seeing a lot of clients looking at refinancing at the moment, and that includes leasing options for equipment, and they're pretty cheap at the moment. So you can get some very good deals out there. And establish forecasts. The economy is lumpy. It's still important to keep budgets and cash flow in your head as to where you're going, especially if you're going to be negotiating finance or money might become tight in the next 6 months. So planning that is certainly important. Obviously, we suggest that you set an action plan, and that the benefits are improved profitability, increase of revenue, better business guidance and alignment, less stress on the owner and a better lifestyle, greater accountability to yourself and your staff, and better financial management. And also that includes a long-term strategy of what you're doing with your business. We have seen a number of people during COVID decide that they want to exit their business or wind the business up, and that's all part of the long-term life strategy of where you're heading. And to get a good result out of that takes planning. You don't just turn the light off and close the door and decide that's the end of it. A good business will have a plan that will allow you to exit in a couple of years and gain some value on the way out. Thanks for joining us. I know a lot of people joined in live or will watch this video later. Call us if you need us. We're back to normal tomorrow, like most people, hopefully. Hopefully you've survived this lockdown quite well. The sun's out. And thanks for taking the opportunity to join us this morning, and all the best wishes to everybody.